Hi guys, welcome to my Comp Remix project. Today I'm doing a podcast with two of my friends who are former teammates and athletes and also now collegiate swimmers. Just starting off, I guess let's just get a little bit of background on each other. I have Luke Dower with me and Toby Warrentana. Luke Dower, what is your kind of background in swim and where did you swim in college and just like everything with that?
Yeah, so I started swimming in sixth grade and swam all the way up through my freshman year in college. When I was swimming in college, I swam at Denison University, which is a D3 school, in the mid-major division. Yeah, it's pretty competitive. The men's team won nationals in 2025. The women won nationals 2023. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I swam sprint free and breast
I
for
gotcha.
most of my career. Yeah.
Yeah, and Toby, what about a little bit of background with you? When did you start swimming? Like, what did you decide to do with your college career?
So I've been swimming since I was 6, and I swam all 4 years of high school. Currently, I'm swimming for Center College. Compared with Denison, we're not as competitive, but we compete in the Southern Athletic Association, I believe. And last year we were runner up on the guys side, and I think we won on the girls side.
That's
So
awesome.
we're pretty competitive.
Cool. With that background, I guess let's start off with what do you guys describe as college swimming and like what is all does it take to be like a collegiate swimmer or collegiate athlete?
So for me personally, you really have to actually like the sport if you really want to compete, because waking up at 5 in the morning isn't fun, and
Yeah.
having to do that like every week can really suck. And then on top of that, having to then practice every single day in the afternoon, combining that with lift, we do about like 20 hours of just like straight practice. So
Wow.
to compete in college, you really have to like the sport.
I mean, I feel like if you swim club in high school or even swimming in high school, most teams they're practicing a lot. And if you can make it through like a winter break training where you're swimming two, three times a day sometimes, I feel like you'll be well enough prepared to go to almost any collegiate program. You're just swimming a little bit more.
Hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Thank you guys for the background on that. Speaking of that, if you guys would like to just like put a little input on, I know obviously with Denison being a very competitive D3 in sorts of ways acting like a D1 with competition level, what would you guys say is probably like a major difference between Division 3 and Division 1 athletics?
Money.
That's
Yeah.
a huge part that I would
Scholarships.
like to go into later. But would you guys say is there any difference in like training or anything with like competition or expectations or anything?
For training, it depends on the coach. Like for my coach at Denison, Greg, he actually talked to a lot of coaches like Bob Bowman and other. That's the only name that I remember, but other collegiate coaches for D1, and he would get some practices from them. So
Hmm.
we were doing similar practices. You're just in a different place. You're still training just as hard. You're still doing base sets and sprint sets and stuff like that. So the training doesn't really change that much, I don't think.
Would you guys say with being D3 athletes, you guys fear a lot less of being cut from the team rather than a D1 would be?
For me personally, I have no fear of being cut, mainly because our program's so big. I think we have about like 80 people, so I can be as slow as I want or as fast as I want. I won't get cut.
Yeah.
The only difference is we have a travel roster of about like 50 people, so that's about like the only time someone gets cut, and
Hmm.
that's if travel team.
I guess like just diving into our next topic, I'm sure you've all heard about the Grant House lawsuit against NCAA, and just like a little bit about that for the people listening. There was a big lawsuit where a very very good swimmer from Arizona State University sued the NCAA in order to get more pay for himself and other collegiate athletes, and with winning this lawsuit, cut roster sizes and had to make a lot of programs like size down or even stop running completely. Just like overall input from you guys. I know it's a bit different from D3 and D1, but what would you guys like say your thoughts about this lawsuit are, how you think it affects college swimming, and just like everything about it?
I think it's a shame that they had to cut down the roster size by so much. Like I personally know a few friends that got cut because of it.
Mm.
But I also think it's good that athletes are getting paid. I feel like if you're bringing in money to the institution, you should at least get a fraction of that back, whether it's in scholarships or actual payment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to disagree on you on that, mainly because that case kind of involved like high revenue sports like football, but like
Yeah.
Basketball.
for swimming we don't really generate that much money. So after that NFL thing, it really kind of screwed over swimmers specifically because we don't generate that much money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only part I disagree with you on.
Would you say that the court case overall is more beneficial because it gave more money, or do you say it's more harmful in that it cut more roster spots?
I think it's more harmful because teams have less depth, so you don't get like as consistent competition in big meets.
I remember hearing about like the amount of money people get after that case. I think it was only about like $1,000, like
Yeah.
500. It wasn't even that much to like warrant having 10 people cut. So I think it did more harm than good, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And I guess just moving on to our next thing. Obviously, Luke, you know about this, but what would you guys say is a big like factor of drop rates? Because obviously, if you look on a lot of statistics in a lot of places like SwimCloud, you can see average career length of a college and how their swimmers, at how many years their swimmers actually stay on the team. What would you guys say is a factor of having swimmers leave the team or not complete all 4 years of their sport? And what do you think actually is the most important factor for a swimmer to complete their full college career?
I would say, based on my experiences, the most important factor is the team environment. I mean, obviously, I left because I didn't like the coaching style, I didn't like the practices, I didn't like the practice schedule. But a lot of my friends on the team, they hate swimming for the program, but they really like the guys on the team and they like the camaraderie. And that's why they're staying on the team. They're just like pushing through it just because they have friends there and they want to keep those friendships.
I guess we'll kind of like end off with the recruitment process. If you guys would like to describe just a little bit about your recruitment process and all like you think reaching out to schools or it takes to become one of those college athletes, just giving us a little insight about your personal recruitment process and like what you think is ideal for reaching out to coaches and possibly getting that spot on a roster.
I honestly, I did not put that much effort into recruiting. I just applied to like 5 different schools, and if I got in, then I'd go to whichever one I could swim at. But I think recruiting can be really frustrating for people that especially aren't like an obvious D1 talent their sophomore year. They're some people that might not get offers from a lot of colleges because most colleges ask for unreasonable times, and it can be extremely discouraging to see like, oh, I got to be 2 seconds faster in the 50 free to go to a D3 school. Like, it can be really frustrating and demoralizing.
So if you want to talk a little bit about your recruitment process and like all you did with that.
So me personally, I just emailed a bunch of coaches and hoped they responded. And then when they did respond, I just kept on updating them. I'd say the most important thing is just having that communication and just talking with your potential coach just about like how you're doing, how like practices are, and just like be yourself. I'd say that's the most important thing.
And just like any closing notes to any high school athletes who are looking to take that next step, any piece of advice you'd give to them?
I don't know, probably be proactive on recruiting, like reach out as soon as possible. Reach out to as many schools as you're interested in. Maybe reach out to some that you know that you don't want to go, but just to get some experience talking to coaches and visiting teams can be helpful.
Make sure you actually fit in. Just talk with the people.
Yeah.
Visit the campus and make sure you actually like it. That's also really important.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast today and talking about your guys' experience and all that you have to offer with your knowledge. I'm really appreciative. And I think that's going to be all. Thank you guys for listening.